Hey, Eric Peacock here, Flexibility Friday. No, I'm not demonstrating an exercise today. What I want to talk about is people half-assing their flexibility. One of the big problems I always hear is people talk about how their knee hurts, how their back hurts, how something hurts. And the big problem is because I would say 100% of the people in the United States have flexibility and mobility issues. They have imbalances, and these imbalances doesn't mean that you got to go to a physical therapist or you need to go seek medical care, but just look at what we do as a culture. We sit a lot during the day, and when we sit, we make certain muscles tight, other muscles get basically shut off and get weak. So if you're not doing a good warm-up and cool down and your joints hurt, that's your fault. All right, you don't have a bad knee. A lot of times you don't have a bad knee or a bad back. You have imbalances. Yes, sometimes you have structural things, but structural things come from poor movement, and one of the ways to prevent poor movement is to do a good warm-up and cool down. I know I have old injuries from football and things like that, but I can still tell they're there, but they don't hurt and hold me back because we do things to offset them. So one of the things I would suggest is get some discipline. We talked about food discipline yesterday. We're going to talk about flexibility discipline because it's another area people just tend to kind of half-ass like nutrition, just to be blunt. So what is important about flexibility? So we got to do a good warm-up, a thorough warm-up. I don't mean just getting on a treadmill and walking and doing some 5-minute cardio thing. That could be part of it, but I mean moving joints, activating joints, getting the body ready to do the work you're going to do. And it's kind of like a pilot taking off and doing pre-flight checks before you take off. If you don't want your pilot just getting in the plane, assuming everything's good, and just taking the plane off the runway. They do certain checklists. Well, it's the same thing. You're going through, you're making sure all your joints are moving good, all the muscles you need to move, activate, like your core and your glutes, they're turned on and ready to roll. So that's kind of number one, is activate inhibited muscles. Inhibited means they're just kind of shut down. Like when you sit on your glutes all day, you think they're really active. Another example is we got a lot of women wear high heels and their calves get tight, and that inhibits your anterior tibialis, and that muscle is important for being able to have good ankle mobility. When you run, if that muscle's not firing, that's a lot of times why you get shin splints. So we have to create some better relationships, and that's kind of going into number two, length tension relationships. So if my hip flexors are tight, it's going to be hard to fire my glutes. It's going to be hard to pull through on a deadlift. So if I want my glutes to fire on a deadlift, I need to loosen up my hip flexors, especially if they've been sitting all day shortened. I need to lengthen those out so that I can fire through and get those hips to get underneath me on a big lift like a deadlift. That is really, really important. And if we just jump right into the workout, we're going to have crappy movement, and it's crap in, crap out. So if we have crappy movement, that's going to lead to all those nagging itises, all those little tweaks. A lot of those things can be prevented. Nobody's completely bulletproof. I'm not saying that's going to make you bulletproof, but it's going to really diminish your chances of having those nagging injuries and tweaking something during a workout, and then having to complain about how I have a bad knee or bad back. Yes, some people do have a legitimate complaint, but I find that a lot of times it's just because we're just doing crappy warm-ups. Number three is just like I said, it's wake up your central nervous system. A lot of us come out of work, we're kind of in that fog, and we need to kind of get that nervous system booted up. We need to get the computer, the brain, everything mentally prepared and physically prepared to do hard work. Okay, going from sitting on your butt to hard work is not a good idea. You have to kind of turn the engine on and warm it up a little bit, and that's what the warm-up is going to do for you. And so we talked about the warm-up piece. I want to talk about the cool-down piece. So a lot of times I see another thing you need to look at is bookending your workout with a cool-down stretch, or some foam rolling or something to kind of reset your body into a relaxed state. When we run out after a hard workout and we get in the car and we take off, it's no wonder we're stiff, because we got all those tight muscles. Those muscles are jacked. You're going to have coagulation of blood. You're going to have stiffness, plus you're still in an amped up fight or flight state. And if you want to recover from your workouts and you want to have less stiffness and soreness, you have to have a post-workout routine. So I would recommend some static stretching, some yoga poses, something gentle to get your body shifted down into the rest and digest system. The rest and digest system, aka the parasympathetic nervous system, is where we recover. But if we're still amped up and we're all tense and we're not calming our body down with some good stretching afterwards, and this is where we want to do the static stretching, the nice easy mild to moderate stretches. We're not trying to increase flexibility here, we're trying to calm the body down and get it into that rest and digest phase, and that's going to help us recover, because the name of the game, if you want to make progress in your performance and your strength, it's how well you recover. It's not how hard you train. If you train hard and you're not recovering, you're going to overtrain. You're not going to see improvement. So part of it is nutrition, If you eat like crap, you're not going to recover. But if you don't do these things right, the flexibility at the beginning, the active dynamic warm-up, and the post-workout stretch, you're not going to get the results you can. So the discipline is, if you have a workout, make sure you get in there early. If you're doing a group training or working out on your own or one-on-one, you get in, do your warm-up. It's very important, and spend some time. 5 to 10 minutes on each of these is going to do wonders. It doesn't mean you got to be here for an hour, but spend some time at the end stretching out and getting your body into that relaxed state. You will notice a huge difference in your body. So that's my Flexibility Friday rant. Have a great Memorial Day weekend.